Hello, welcome to this presentation. Would anyone like to introduce the speaker? Is anyone there to introduce the speaker? Oh, you are. Okay. Well, the speaker today is Alan Gassman. He is an attorney practicing in Clearwater, Florida for Gassman, Crotty, and Denicolo. The firm has 6 lawyers and about 24 paralegals, including me, and I'm no dummy. Mr. Gassman's talk today will be recorded. You will receive a copy of the recording in about an hour. And thank you very much for attending. Well, thank you for that warm welcome. And I welcome the members of the Paralegal Association of Florida to this presentation. I'm going to be taking questions during the presentation. Randall Schneider already sent me a question and really appreciate the opportunity to present here. What I am going to give you is what I believe to be a robust list of considerations and a challenge for you to make some solid changes in how you handle your career, both today and going forward. If you take some of the suggestions that we make here today, you will definitely have an improvement, not only to your job, but also to your enjoyment of the job and to the firm or company that you work for. As I said, about 1 hour after we close, everybody will receive a auto email from GoToWebinar with a replay and the PowerPoint slides. Your free attachment today is a PDF of the book, 8 Steps to a Proper Florida Trust and Estate Plan. And if you're involved with estate planning, you may enjoy the book. If you're not involved with the estate plan, please note that I spent a lot of time and quite frankly, a lot of money putting together an 8-step protocol for a Florida trust and estate plan. And I used this as an opportunity to polish up our processes at our law firm and to make what became a fairly nice brochure, a complete book on how to handle putting together a proper Florida trust and estate plan. And that may be something that will evolve in your job or in your law firm. Course objectives for today. Number 1, I want all professionals to feel that they are happily engaged in positive activities during the workday. Secondly, I appreciate what you do. There is no way as lawyers that we would be able to even survive without good assistants and paralegals. Number 3, we all have our moments. To the extent you have anxiety and discomfort, we want that to be less, if not completely eliminated. Number 4, I want to help you get more done. Number 5, I want to help you use leverage. So it's not only you working, but can we get you some assistance? Can we get you some form letters? Can we get you some more efficient processes so that your time can be used more effectively? Number 6, I want to help you reduce waste, and in particular, wasted time or work you do that, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you when we started this file that Buster actually lives in Indiana. So we have to adapt all this to Indiana law now. I'm sorry I forgot to tell you that until 3 hours before the deadline for this project. That would be nice to avoid. Number 7, do you spend at least a little time every week improving your systems, improving your lawyers, improving your clients? And number 11, just can you set aside 10 minutes a week to take a look at life from 30,000 feet to see how to improve your job, your career, and your law firm or company? So I have 5 balloons here. I've been told many times that I'm full of hot air, so I put them into these 5 balloons. There's your personal life, and then there's your professional life, and then there's clients we deal with, there's the team we're on, and there's the structures, the processes, and the knowledge base. And what I explain to lawyers when I give this course, which by the way is usually a 6 to 8 hour workshop, is that if any of these balloons are out of kilter, they're tied together by rope, and the lowest balloon will drag the other balloons down. So think about the law firm you're working for or the company you're working for. If the personal lives are screwed up, the professional usually will not do a great job. It's possible that you go to the office to forget about your personal life, but it's a good idea to have your personal life all together. Then you're only as good as the people who work in your firm. How professional are you, and what can you improve? Then third, how can you get and maintain good clients who will pay a good amount so that everyone can make a good living and be appreciated? Fourth, there's your team. You're hopefully always looking to bring better people on the team. And fifth, there are the structures and processes, which are really, really important. So I want you to think about at least coming out of this webinar with 3 significant improvements for your firm. And we can get the low-hanging fruit first, but I want to go over a little bit of math for you. If you can improve your firm by only 1% a week, by just tweaking here and there, that is a 50% in 50 weeks, which makes your firm 150% better in 1 year, and then 225% better than it is now in 2 years. So these small little changes and the dedication to the process of change is what can happen. And a lot of us use coaches, we go to conferences, we belong to mastermind groups. We do all those things, not only because we like to do those things, but because those things actually work. Atticus, which is available through the Florida Bar, which provides conferences for lawyers and other professionals, is an example of how well this can work. 2 other programs that I've had involvement with over the years are Strategic Coach and Maui Mastermind. You can look them up. They can also provide a lot of good stimulus. But we don't need them today because there's so many opportunities you have, and we can go over a few of them. How would we improve your law firm if everyone in your firm had 2 hours a day of uninterrupted quiet time to get the most important and the most tedious work done? How can we make that happen? Even if it's only an hour a day, even if it's only 2 hours a week, what is the strategy that you can use to make that happen? B, as soon as we're done here, talk to your lawyer about firing your most disruptive and poorly paying clients. Do it as soon as possible. In fact, write down their names right now. If you have clients that are issues, they're issues because they don't pay, they're issues because they complain about, they are issues because they give you things to do at the last minute. We need to talk about what to do for them, about them, because they are taking the time away for you to work for your very best client. Your A+ client who never questions a bill, who always appreciates what you do, is very, very patient and not so demanding. So you're spending a lot of time with C+ clients and C- clients and not even getting to what the A+ clients would like for you to do with them. C, a lot has happened in the economy over the last year, but one thing that has definitely happened is that people are accustomed to paying more for things they receive. And law firms are famous for undercharging. Yes, we all get dinged or complained about because we cost a lot. We cost a lot because we have a hard job, and it's expensive to fully staff a good law office and to provide services. But if you could check around with your friendly competitors and see what people are paying and what people are charging, you should not charge less than what you deserve to receive. And probably one of the biggest wastes that a lot of law firms have is they don't charge for all of their clerical time. And I just use the words all of the clerical time. Clients are commonly more happy to pay for clerical time than they are to pay for lawyer time because they know that's saving them lawyer time. So if your firm is not charging for all clerical time, please think again. D, if there's something you do over and over and over again, wouldn't you mechanize it? Wouldn't you set up a form? Wouldn't you set up a macro or an automatic system? Wouldn't you have 3 or 4 form letters that you always send at the beginning of the project, that you always send in the middle, that you always send at the end? If it takes you 4 hours to put this together from scratch, and it would take you 7 hours to set it up as a system, that would save you 2 hours each time, dedicate the 7 hours. And an example under E is think about how we can get you some clerical assistance to do some of your clerical work. For our office, we have overnight secretaries. And anyone in our office who doesn't finish their work or would like to send something to an overnight secretary can simply do so. And then hopefully, and quite often, what you delegated is sitting waiting for you at the end of the day. One thing I like to do with the overnight secretaries is I like to record my part of a telephone conversation with a client, and then have the overnight secretary go over it, take notes, and make a checklist of what I promised the client and what the client promised me. I'm not going to record a call with the client without consent, but just by repeating what the client says and recording my part of the conversation can make things a lot more efficient and a lot more effective. Or you could send the tape to TEMI, T-E-M-I, and they'll charge very little to give you an artificial intelligence transcription. So that can save a lot of time and a lot of money for your law firm. So please think about whether you could do a monthly firm improvement lunch, or at least on Tuesdays when you go to bed, you'll think about how to improve the law firm a little bit. I can show you where to get some big hints, though, on where to improve your law firm. And that's to start with what I will call a frustration analysis. Let's face it, we all like to blow steam and talk about what has frustrated us. That's fine, but it's really a waste of time and energy if you're not going to do something about it. In fact, there's a fantastic book by Dale Carnegie. It was written about 65 years ago, and it's called How to Stop Worrying. And I'm sorry, it's called, the one I'm referring to is How to Make Friends and Influence People. And Dale Carnegie says, never, ever criticize or complain. Just never criticize or complain. If you see something to complain about, talk about how you're going to improve the situation. So one frustration that I think almost all of us have if we're dedicated professionals is we have too much work. We do. There's more work than we can do, and that can be frustrating. During the day, you get 12 things done. At the end of the day, there's those 2 things you didn't get done. And of course, your boss says, hey, did you get to Finkel? No, I didn't get to Finkel. I got to 10 other things, but you're only asking me about Finkel. Thank you very much. So what are the causes of too much work? Well, there's clients, there's too many clients, and some of them don't pay their bills. So why am I doing their work? And then it takes me 3 hours to do each of these main projects that I commonly do. And third, my boss promises unrealistic delivery dates without asking me. Now, scientific studies have shown that if you look at a problem like we just did, and you say, how can I solve the problem? It doesn't get solved. But if you will root out the causes of the problem, and I just gave you 3 of them, there could be 10 of them, and then you go to the possible solution to each of the causes. Well, you know what? We're just going to tell these particular clients that we only do their work when there's money in the trust account. And then we're not going to have to do their work unless there's money in the trust account. And that's called an evergreen retainer. And I'm going to delegate some of this work to an overnight secretary, or we're going to hire a law student to clerk for our firm. And these certain things, which don't take me, they can take somebody else. A high school student could do them. Somebody in India could do them. An overnight secretary could do them. We're going to delegate that off of your desk. And then for the unrealistic delivery dates, just apologize early. Dear Mrs. Jones, when my dumb boss told you that this could be done in a week, he didn't realize that we had a couple of other things going on. So it's going to be a week and a half to 2 weeks. We apologize for the inconvenience. We try to apologize before the work is late and always after, to let the client know that we expect our standards to be higher than this specific performance. Well, now that I've written down my frustration and my causes, my possible solutions, I'm going to pick the best solution. I want you to pick the solution that is what we call the low-hanging fruit, the easiest thing to do first. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to work for the clients that are past due. I'm going to say, Mrs. Jones, I've stopped work on your project. When you can catch up, let us know and we'll catch up. And secondly, you may have decided that you could delegate some of the work to a junior or overnight person. Typically, in a law firm and any other organization, all work should be done by the person who is the lowest on the pyramid, if that can be efficient and effective. So be thinking about that. Who does what in my firm and why are they doing it? So I gave you a worksheet here at page 9, and we're going to send everyone the PowerPoints. You can print as many of these as you want and just write out 5 or 6 frustrations, causes, solutions, and best solutions. And then if you get together with other people in the firm, you can come up with solutions to this. This is very, very effective. We have used it in our firm many times. Now I want to talk about you, because, you know, Galileo got it wrong. He said the world revolves around the sun. Actually, the world revolves around you. The world is what you see in your reality of existence. And the world is quite possibly here just to please you. And it's not always pleasing you. It's commonly frustrating you. So how you look at the world and how you look at reality is an important part of how you perform as a professional. And the second thing I say here is, don't be mad at gravity. Let's say that you are hiking on a mountain with your camera and you see the most beautiful view of a rainbow over a river ever. And you take a picture and drop your camera. It falls 300 feet and you see it break into a million little pieces. Are you angry at gravity? You may be angry that you dropped your camera, but are you angry at gravity? And what is gravity? Gravity is a law of physics beyond our control. The same law of physics causes people to call you and interrupt you when you're in the middle of a meeting. The same law of physics causes your computer to shut down right after you've typed a 9-page letter and haven't been saving it periodically. That is gravity. We can try to learn not to be angry at it. But what are your professional objectives? One of mine is to enjoy 85% or more of my waking hours. Ever since I read a study a few years ago by a Danish scientist that says that 85% or more of my waking time should be enjoyed, I'm doing my best to enjoy it. Secondly, I'm eliminating things that I don't enjoy by having other people do them who are better at it than I am. I love drafting legal documents. I don't love proofreading legal documents, and to be quite honest, I'm not very good at proofreading legal documents. That's why our law firm has a proofreader. Her name is Chris, and she has a red pen. She prints it out and she marks it up and she gives it back to us to make sure that we've done everything right and that it appears good. And clients are happy to pay for a higher quality of work. So I'm not a very good typist. My clients are better off if I dictate and then somebody else types it. So I want to do what I'm good at and let other people do what they're good at. And sometimes that means you have to swap tasks or eliminate tasks. But the bottom of page 4 is, I want to know what you love to do that makes time go to zero. The day went so fast. That's a good sign. How do we get you to do more of that? Eliminating interruptions. Well, for one thing, there is the addiction to the phone and the addiction to checking emails. You know, you could play with your phone and you could be on Facebook and you can play with your emails and you can go through your boss's emails and you can go through your emails. And are you doing that because you should, or are you doing that because it's kind of easy and gives you light dopamine hits? Think about this. You have another room in your office with no phone, no computer. Leave your cell phone where it is, put it on airplane, take your toughest project into that room, get it done. Time will go to zero. Or just announce to your firm, from 3 to 5 p.m., whenever possible, I'll be putting a door on my sign that I'm in concentrated work. Please don't interrupt me. I'm going to switch my phone to take messages. And if it's an emergency, let me know. And that would be a very good strategy for almost everyone. Another idea is to change your work hours. If you're now a 9 to 5 and get interrupted a lot, what if you start coming in at 7 and leave at 3 or 3:30? I can tell you more work gets done in our law firm from 7 to 9 than probably gets done the rest of the day. So keep that in mind and think about what you can delegate. And when you work in a large firm, imagine a monkey on the back of anyone who comes to see you. And that monkey is a task. And when they come close to you, that monkey wants to jump off of their shoulder and jump off of your shoulder. And that's called delegating work to you. You don't want that monkey to come to your shoulder. You want to get the monkeys off of your shoulder into their shoulder. So page 15, what kind of habits do you need? I go to a mastermind program usually every 90 days. And one of the things I talk about, or I think about, is what my habits are, the good ones and the bad ones, and how to switch to a better habit. And number 5 here on page 15 is, for many people in our firm and many professionals, the most important habit that you can have. And that is to simply, in absolute silence, without being interrupted, for 10 minutes, write down everything you want to get done today or tomorrow. Just write them and then prioritize them A, B, C, and then prioritize them A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. Now, when you've made that daily list, a few very important things have happened. Number one, your subconscious mind is thinking about how to get those things done, and your conscious mind gave it a quick thought also. It may come to mind, I've been owing a letter to Mrs. Jones, but it's probably just as good that I send her an email and ask her if she still wants it. And I wrote down to do an estate plan for Polly, but it just occurred to me that I did a very similar estate plan about a year ago for John. I'll go pull that file and I'll copy those key documents. How many times do you wake yourself up 2 or 3 in the morning and go, oh my gosh, I need to remember to call Paul Jones tomorrow about that mediation? Well, you know what? If it's on your task list, then your subconscious mind doesn't have to wake you up to think about that. It can give you much better dreams. So think about your habits and your addictions, because when something becomes a habit, it also becomes an addiction. And one addiction would be, I always pick up the phone when it rings in my office. No, I don't. I look at caller ID, and unless it's an A client, I'm not picking that thing up. They'll hopefully leave a voicemail, and then I can send them an immediate email as to what they want without having to trade phone calls again. One habit that I have is I try to convert my clients who leave voicemails into email clients, because I know that I can answer an email much quicker than a voicemail, and that then everything is very clear. So what I do is we have a transcriptionist who transcribes my voicemails. I never listen to them myself. I don't even know how to listen to them myself. And then I copy and paste the transcriptionist's transcription into an email. And the transcriptionist always gives me the email address of the client. John, thanks for the following message. Then below it, the answer is ABC. Paragraph, thanks very much. Or John, I got this message. Would you like to set up an appointment to discuss it? And then ICC appointments@gassmanpa.com. That's an email address. And then the secretaries who set up our appointments do that. Now, I haven't had to interrupt any particular secretary by sending her an email about that appointment. When she goes to the appointments email, she'll then learn about it. I'm not interrupting her. So that is another habit. On the personal side, I hope you're getting enough sleep, that you're exercising every day, that you're taking a good sanity lunch break if you need one, that you're keeping your blood sugar in check by proper eating, proteins and vegetables, please, not so much on the carbs, and that you're limiting your caffeine use. Scientific studies have shown that people who don't use caffeine have more energy than people who have caffeine. So if you're drinking a lot of caffeine, that may be causing some frustration, some unhappiness. Just think about it. Page 17, some other ideas. My phone on my desk in my office never ever rings. A clone phone to my phone is on my assistant's desk. She will look and see who it is. I will not hear it ring. And then she may inform me, because we sit in the same elongated room. Alan, John Smith's on the calling. You want me to pick it up or voicemail it? She'll only say that if she knows that I'm doing something that it's okay to interrupt me for, and I'll say, let it go to voicemail or pick up. But I do not get interrupted with phone calls. When my wife calls me, she calls my cell phone, and very few clients have my cell phone address. Now, number 7, batching interruptions. You know, it used to be that every time something important came in, I'd march over to the secretary's office and say, hey, this just happened. We need you to get this done. You can start on it tomorrow. And then she's going to look up from what she was doing and say, thank you very much for the interruption. So now I have a basket or a box, so to speak, for almost everyone in my office who I delegate to. There's about 9 of them. And during the day, I simply toss things into those boxes. And tomorrow in the morning, I'll take the box to the person's office and say, hey, Ken, let's sit down. I got 4 things for you. And he says, that's great, because I have 3 things for you. Because in our law firm, we batch our interruptions. We don't interrupt each other. The other thing I do is that when I send an email to somebody and I ask them to do something, I print a copy of the email. So the email is not only an email, it is a printed piece of paper on my printer, which you see behind me there. At the end of the day, my assistant staples all of those emails for me, so I don't have to charge clients $625 an hour to staple emails. And then I sort those emails into the 8 boxes. Hey, Ken, did you see the email I sent Mrs. Jones yesterday? Yeah, I did. Okay, you're going to get that done, right? Yeah, I am. It's just another safeguard, because I think we all know that emails don't always do what they're supposed to do. Page 18. Think about what gives you dopamine hits and get your dopamine hits off of the right stuff. You know, you can get dopamine hits from taking illegal drugs, from drinking too much alcohol, but those have consequences that I don't recommend. But how about if you nurture your helper's high? You know, when I get a call from a client in peril, they have an emergency, not of my making, not of their planning. It's just a darn emergency. Someone's in the hospital, they need a healthcare power of attorney. Their spouse is sick, they need someone to talk to. I'm going to get the helper's high. I like to help people. I feel good about it. So think about that. Think about what's giving you the dopamine hits and why it's giving you the dopamine hits. And try to get the dopamine hits when you can put a check mark next to something on your to-do list. That's something really good. Or number 4, getting 7 to 8 billable hours out. Some of our people in our firm bill 95% of their time because we've removed all non-billable interruptions. They're not allowed to do things that aren't billable. We have other clerical staff that does nothing but non-billable. So if a secretary is billing something to a client, it's great. If they come across something that's not billable, they give it to the non-billable staff. The non-billable staff typically is paid less and has less expertise. What else feels good? Number 5, getting a letter or project out the door. 6, knowing I do a good job. 7, hanging out and talking to my friends about this weekend and last weekend. See, to me, that's not something that would give you a work-related dopamine hit. That's something you do at your lunch break or after lunch. But 8 is important. We have inner child. We want to have fun. I've got my little puppet, and he talks and he tells jokes and things like that, and his head spins around. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing that in the office to get good motivation and to have good relationships. It's short, fast fun. Bring a squirt gun to the office and squirt your boss every time he forgets to give you the right directions. What causes anxiety? Page 19. You know, when I talk to the young lawyers, I say, when you think you have a cold or a flu, if it's like a buzzing sensation in your chest, guess what? It's just good old-fashioned anxiety. And it's an indication that you're not quite in alignment with your environment or your activities. You know, when does anxiety go away? It goes away when you exercise, and it goes away when you're really busy, dedicated to a task that you're good at, that takes your attention away. And that's why so many children and young adults love computer games, because they're doing something that they're good at, and it's using all of their brain cells, all of their conscious brain cells, and it's taking them away from things that may make them anxious. So think about the things you do in the office that you like to do that don't cause you anxiety, and think about the things in the office that happen or that you do that will cause you anxiety, and make a concerted effort to talk to your team members, get a coach, talk to somebody about how to change things so that you don't have the anxiety. One thing that makes me anxious is when my computer doesn't work properly. And that's why I have 3 computers accessible to me at my desk. If one doesn't work, the other is going to. Another thing that makes me anxious is when my stapler or my Scotch tape don't work. And that's why I have multiple staplers and multiple Scotch tape rolls on my desk, because I just want to work while I'm working. So think about what's causing you the anxiety. And to some extent, it may be a misfit between what you're good at and what you're comfortable with and what your job is. Now, you can get coaching to do away with shyness and to do away with feeling anxious when you go into a meeting. There's some really good recommendations I can make on that if you want to be meeting, if you want to be giving public speaking, but use anxiety as a tool to let you know that something's a little bit out of alignment. And taking a few deep breaths will often take care of anxiety, because you have a vagus nerve, which is activated when you take a deep breath. So sometimes just taking a deep breath, counting to 10, can handle part of that. Now, the Gallup poll people, very brilliant, did a survey on what makes people happy in their job. And some of these things were surprising. How does this apply to you? Number one, I want to have all the necessary workplace tools needed to do the job. You know, I walk through law firms and I see one computer screen per secretary, and it just drives me crazy. We have 2 or 3 so our people can get more work done. Number 2, do you do what you do best? Are you learning to get better and doing what you do best? You know, there's a saying, Frank Sinatra never moved pianos. He sang. He rehearsed to sing. He talked to big dollar venues who would hire him, but he did not move the pianos. If you're moving pianos and somebody else lower in the food chain can move pianos, get them to move pianos. Number 3, praise and recognition. Are you giving praise and recognition to those who work with you? Are you giving praise and recognition to clients who give you what you need? Are you saying please and thank you and being courteous to the other people in your workplace? If you're not, then something's wrong. Number 4, my immediate supervisor cares about me and knows what I'm doing. Number 5, someone encourages my development. And I'm here to tell you today that your job in your law firm, as you probably know, will be much more satisfying if you are always attempting to improve it. Number 6, my opinion counts. Please don't be shy about sharing your opinion. Now, I know 1 or 2 of you may actually be working with a lawyer or lawyers who don't listen to you and maybe even don't respect what you have to say. That doesn't mean that you should not say it and that you should not say it loudly. I was in a workshop a couple of years ago where a speaker made a very sexist remark. But the remark was this. He said, in my experience, men will tell you what they think and women may not. That a man may say, I think we should paint the walls blue, And then he's ready for everyone to say, that's a stupid idea. But this speaker said that a lady may be more likely to say, what do you think about the color blue for this wall? Now, the dumb man in the example doesn't realize that she is suggesting a blue wall. If she would just suggest a blue wall, he would say blue's fine. Well, please think about being more assertive. Sit down at the desk with this lawyer, look the lawyer in the eye and say, do you mind if I just say one thing? Yeah, what? I think we'd all be better off if we didn't answer the phone until 9:30 so I could get some work done for you. Do you think the receptionist could pick up my line till 11? Do you think maybe we could keep your calendar clear every morning from 9 to 9:30 so I can put emergencies and new business on there and you can have time to review your work? Don't you think you need more buffer time? Whatever those main suggestions you have for the person you work with, whether you like them or not, see how they react. If they say, that was a great idea, thank you very much, then say, maybe we should have a meeting like this once a week. If they're rude about it and don't accept what you have to say, then go find a better job, because just about everyone on this webinar has the ability to take a walk. Let your team know what you expect from your team so that you can enjoy your work. Item 8, people want to do quality work. They want to be doing a good job. And number 9, this was a big surprise to me, but everyone wants to have a best friend at the office. So if you're in a large firm, give conscious thought to not only enjoying your best friend at the office, but helping new people find a friend at the office. New people come in, you want them to be solid in your society, in the social scene of your firm. They'll feel much better if they can go out to lunch 2 or 3 times the first 2 or 3 weeks and find who their best friends at the office are. They're less likely to stay. Periodic discussion of progress and opportunities to learn and grow. Buy a book or find a book on the type of law you handle, a book written for lawyers, read it, and come up with suggestions. Very important, to the extent that you can tell your firm who to hire and who to fire. The most important thing about any law firm, I don't care what the law firm is or what it does, the most important thing is likely to be the employees, both the lawyer employees and the non-lawyer employees. Get rid of anyone who's negative. Fix anyone who's negative. Get rid of anyone who has a lot of errors, or fix the system to prevent them from getting errors. A great book, Good to Great, written in 2001 by Jim Collins. He talks about how many companies are successful primarily because they hire the right people. So page 27, yes, blame it on me. You may need more computer monitors. We have those Canon computerized copiers where the secretary tells the copier how many copies he needs, whether to 3-hole punch them, whether to ACO punch them, whether to staple them, whether they should be on yellow paper, whether they should be on white paper, whether they should be legal, whether they should be letter, or whether they should be ledger size, orders the entire print job, the file copy, the copy going to the client. That saves a lot of secretarial time. Well worth the money that it costs. Should you have a dedicated cell phone at the office that's only your cell phone, not your personal cell phone, so that you can get things done? Should you have an overnight person or a law student as your employee some number of hours a week so that you can leverage and delegate? Can you hire an outside company to come in and mechanize your forms? So back to the assertiveness training. There's a great book. It's an old book. It's called The 1 Minute Manager. And the 1 Minute Manager goes to the person of concern, whether it's your boss or another employee or somebody you supervise. John, can we sit down for a minute? Yes. John, I really like working with you. You're one of the best contract drafters I've ever worked with, but I have to admit that something really upsets me about working with you. And then John says, well, I'm sorry, what is that? Well, you're late 2 or 3 times a week. It's bad for morale. And you've also told some white lies about why you're late. And it really, really, I have to admit, it upsets me. All right, then a silence. Then John says, I'm sorry, I won't let that happen again. And then you say, thank you very much, John. And then you touch John on the shoulder. And hopefully it won't happen again. But as I say at the bottom of slide 28, if it happens again, you've got to decide whether to fire John. But this little 1-minute manager technique can really help you fix wasteful situations in the office. And one of those conversations can be, I really like you, and I'm really interested in your life, but you can't be talking to me with all this chit chat during working hours. I'm not getting my work done. It's too frustrating. Go see a psychologist. Talk to someone other than me. And by the way, people who are talkaholics, you get a lot of them on the phone. They just go on and on and on. They are very used to you saying to people who say, I've got to get the, I've got something on the other line. I'm sorry, I only have a minute left. And then, oop, a minute's up. Or I really don't have time right now. They're used to people saying that. You can let them go on and on. Maybe you're billing them for the time and they're going on, and maybe you're working on other work at the same time. But just make a list of who those people are and how you are going to handle it. So then your follow-up systems, I like to print an email. A lot of our secretaries just have 30 file folders on their desk, one for each week. They take the email that they sent, they make a copy of it, they put it in the file folder for the week after next. Then a week and a half from now or 2 weeks from now, they go to that file folder, they go through the emails that are there, they make sure the stuff got done. That type of follow-up system can work very well. Better note-taking. If you're not going to sit in on a meeting and take copious notes for your lawyer, consider having a law student do that. I find that law students take very good notes and they enjoy listening to these conversations. So for 20 bucks an hour for a 2-hour meeting, for $40, I've got a transcript almost of what this client and I discussed. So when I bring it to you and you work on the project, you can look at that and ask the law student what happened. So whatever it takes to get as much information as possible is a good idea. And you're better able to spot situations where your law firm is undercharging or just losing money on these projects. I recently cut a deal with a lender where we would set up limited liability companies for very low cost because we were going to do a lot of them. And we did a lot of them, but we found that the borrowers he was sending us were very, very detail oriented and wanted a lot of things. So we couldn't do the LLCs at a set cost as a no-frill LLC. It just didn't work. We had to explain to the referral source what was going on so that he could better explain it. So now there's 2 tracks. There's the people who come for the no-frills LLC, and there's the people who come for the full service LLC formation, and they expect to pay more or they go somewhere else. A lot of us get very bashful because we're people pleasers, and maybe 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6 clients comes in and says, well, this revocable trust, you charge $3,500. Other people are doing it for $2,500. It just doesn't seem like it's worth $3,500. Well, that's a one-off experience. Does that mean you're going to charge $2,500 to everybody? You know, if 3 clients are willing to pay $3,500 and 2 clients are willing to pay $2,500, you're better off with the 3 paying $3,500 than doing 5 of them for $2,500. And you might be able to say, well, if you want a no frills trust, here's what I'll do for you. I'll send you a blank trust agreement. You fill out the blanks to the best of your ability. That will save me some secretarial time. And then I'll do this for $2,500. Now, in truth, it may be more work for me when the client messes up my form, but it gives me a reason to give them a price discount that the other clients are not getting. The other thing that we do very, very, very rarely is a quote unquote free consultation. You know, at some point in a lawyer's career, he or she is probably overdoing free consultations. But sometimes we will get somebody worth, believe it or not, $100 million, and they want a free consultation. And maybe that's why they got to $100 million. So what we'll say is the consultation will be free if you will make a charitable donation to one of Mr. Gassman's favorite charities, and he will make a charitable donation to one of your favorite charities. So if it's a $625 hour, you'll donate to his favorite charity. I'll donate to your favorite charity. We'll just make sure you're not cheap, because I don't like doing work for clients who are cheap. Excuse that if it's a derogatory term. The A clients are the ones who say $625 an hour, that's great. How soon can I talk to him? You want MasterCard, Visa, or cash? Now we know we have a good client on the line. So think about that, because the free consults are never free for the law firm. Marketing can work to bring you better clients. So think about how you're marketing, what kind of clients and what type of projects are being brought in. Use some common sense and see how you can change that. Page 33, I have a what to do after meeting checklist. You can go over this with whoever you're working with. The first thing that happens in my office is that they scan my notes to not lose them before I lose them. And then the second thing is, after a meeting, I sit down with a paralegal and I tell them the story. I just met with Mr. and Mrs. Jones. They're going on vacation Wednesday. They've got these 3 daughters. One has some special situations. They want an estate plan. They're doing a durable power of attorney to each other. It only takes 10 or 15 minutes to summarize a 1 hour and 15-minute meeting while it is fresh in my mind. And during that conversation, you say, well, did you talk to them about the 17-year-old when she turns 18? Are they going to put the car in her name to stay away from liability? And should we do a power of attorney for her? And I say, great ideas. I didn't think about that. Let's do a quick email to the client. John and Floyd, it was great meeting you with you. Your daughter's turning 18 in 6 months. Do you want her to give you a power of attorney then? Should we prepare it now? Please put the car in her name. Get it out of your name. Then I like to get that client a letter reiterating everything I'm doing. Selfish reasons. Number 1, the client will think that I'm very efficient. Number 2, the client may read the letter earlier rather than later to get a client to read a letter. And number 3, I can prove that they gave me approval to do all the things that I'm doing and that I am getting paid to do. And then we track that new client. Did we get a response from them? If not, we need to remind them. Clients like law firms that remind them politely, and clients like to know where they are in the process. Client selection and deselection. You can definitely help with this. Think about 5 of these letters that you can write today. Dear Lloyd, I've given our relationship some thought, and you seem unhappy with our services and billing. While I like you very much and have enjoyed doing your work, I think it's time for you to find another lawyer and another law firm that you can be happier with. I'll be glad to cooperate in the transition. To my knowledge, there are no deadlines now other than XYZ, which needs to happen by such and such a date. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be of service. Now, what's going to happen when Lloyd gets this letter? One of 2 things normally will happen. Dear Alan, thanks for your letter. I don't like you either. I'm out of here. I hope my next lawyer is better than you. Or, Dear Alan, I was surprised to receive your letter. I really like you and working with your team. I'm fine with your fees. Will you please finish the job? So you're going to take what I call a C client, because there are A clients, B clients, and C clients. We want more A clients. We want more A projects. How do you get more A clients? You take great care of A clients, and you take great care of their referral sources and their colleagues, and they refer you other A clients. B clients, fine to have, you need them. How can you promote them to B plus to A clients? And C clients, not so much. So think about all the things you could be doing right now for your A clients that you have not gotten to because you've stayed so busy doing stuff for C clients. And you can always promote those B clients to A clients by saying, you know, I just met with John Smith. He's one of our favorite clients. I think you know him, don't you? He brought me a basket of fruit. Such a very, very nice person. Take the hint, please. If you were a little nicer, we might get your work done a little quicker. And that's the A client. You can go through slide 37. Think about the A client. How did you get them? What more can you do for them? And what can you do so that they share the news that you have done a great job? Now, I only have another 300 slides that I could have gone over during this hour. This consists of workshops that I give for lawyers and other professionals, typically sponsored by law firms who invite their third year or graduate lawyers and alumni. I do have an idea collector here on page 46 on what you can change or improve to improve the enjoyment of your job, the enjoyment of your life, the effectiveness of your work, the effectiveness of who you work for and with, the benefits you give to clients, and the enhancement to profitability so that you can get paid better. I hope that everyone who attended this will at least walk away with 3 or 4 ideas of something that you can immediately put into place, and consider the idea of periodically reviewing where you are in life and your job and your firm and what you can improve. That can be a lot of fun, and it can be very, very rewarding. So I want to close by thanking all of you for what you do, for the clients you work with, for the lawyers you work with, for the staff who works for you and with you. If there's anything that I can do to help you in any way, I hope you will let me know. I enjoyed the hour. I hope you did too. May the rest of your day be billable and effective. Thank you.